All right, you guys, I am still in Costa Rica, and here we have another lovely guest. This is Diamond,
Hey,
also,
everybody.
also known as the Gallivanting Grandma.
That's right, the Gallivanting Grandma. That's me.
So we met on Facebook a couple of years ago, like,
Mm-hmm.
right?
2 years ago.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
about 2 years ago. Um, Diamond was coming to the Bay Area to do a house sit.
Yep.
And I reached out to her on Facebook, and she came to my house. She sat on the big velvet sofa. We had brunch. We had a great time, and we've just been connected ever since. And just so happens that I'm visiting Costa Rica at the same time that she's visiting Costa Rica. And what Diamond does is she goes all over the world doing house sitting gigs, y'all.
Yes.
So tell us all about that, because I don't want to leave out anything that you do. I know that you do that, but if there's more to it, go for it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I am so happy, elated to be here with my sister Renee today. Like she said, we met about 2 years ago. I had started doing some domestic house sits, and it really was it was COVID-ish time when
Yeah.
we met.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm up here bringing strangers from off the internet into my house. Oh my God, no. But we knew
Yeah.
just in the chat online that this is my sister. It was just like that.
Absolutely. Immediate connection. And when she said, hey, I'm in the area, let's get together, I had no idea you were going to invite me for a vegan, chef prepared brunch at her home. It was just all the things. And so we connected on that couch, and we've been connected ever since. But that was the start of my domestic house sitting. And I've taken it since then, since the passing of my parents in 2020. I've taken it internationally, and so I'm here in Costa Rica for a month.
And so, when you say the passing of your parents, I know that was not long before we met.
Yeah.
And so has been really therapeutic for you.
Absolutely. I say this is a lifestyle that found me. I really didn't find it. I was curious about it. Being on YouTube and seeing other people who were doing it successfully. And, once they passed, it was like that epiphany, right? That time when you say to yourself, it's time to start living.
Okay. Finally living for yourself.
Living
Yes,
for myself.
Yes.
Yes.
So where was your first house sit?
My first house sit, well, I tell anyone that I started using house sitting as a reprieve. From being primary caregiver for my mom, who was suffering with cancer. So it was like, all right, where can I go that I can be within a tank of gas and an hour or two to get back to her if I needed to. But I really needed that downtime because I was hands-on all the time with her. And, if you've been a caregiver, that can be challenging.
Yeah.
So I needed to replenish myself. And I went into the mountains. I got a house sit with a cat. And it was about an hour and a half from South Carolina, and I went up into the Blue Ridge Mountains, and I just, centered myself, and that allowed me to come back and be better for mom at that point. So I started using it as a reprieve, as a respite almost for myself, and it just started building from there.
Okay, so now with house sitting, for those who don't know, do you pay or get paid for house sitting?
The answer is yes and no. So I started out with probably the largest international online house sitting company, and I'm an affiliate for them. So it's Trusted House Sitters, and that is a straight exchange of services for accommodations. But as you build your profile and you become more well known, in demand, then you can start asking. So my sits are a combination of paid referrals, because people like know what I do, and so if the homeowner is not a part of Trusted House Sitters, then they can reach out to me directly, and we negotiate a price. So it's a combination of paid and unpaid.
Okay, and then you said services. So what are the services that are included?
So it's called house sitting, but 99% of the time you are caring for a pet. And you being a pet mom, you know how important it is to have somebody who really cares about your pet, who is going to honor and respect your home,
Right.
and do all the things that you would be doing if you were there with your pet, so that you can have peace of mind when you travel for whatever reason, right? Personal, professional. You don't want to be worrying about your home or your dog. So you call the Gallivanting Grandma and I take care of that for you.
Yes. Tell me what kind of pets. Now we assume cats and dogs, but have there been others that you have taken care of, or that you see on the list?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you wanted to care for llamas in Peru, you could. There are horses. It runs the gamut. All kind of farm animals. If you're into the reptile world, there's certainly a lot of that. I stick to the rivers and the streams that I'm used to with cats and dogs.
Okay, so that makes me think of a story that for some reason, I'm always telling this story, and I probably even told you, or you may know about it, and it's from Jen Sincero's book. What's that book? I can't think of her book, but anyway, she says she needed to get away to do some writing, and someone suggested house sitting, pet sitting.
Yeah.
She had never done it. She gets this gig. I think somebody was looking for someone. So she gets this gig. It's her first time, and it's 2 goats and a horse.
Yeah.
And maybe some other animals. And she says every day the goats are beating on the glass sliding door. They want to come in the house. And of course, they're not allowed in the house.
Yeah.
One day she goes to the store, and when she comes back, the horse is in the driveway, and the goats are in the house. And the house is completely destroyed. You have to hear her tell the story on Audible in the book.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of the book. Y'all know Jen Sincero. If you know her, you have to listen to her first book. But anyway. But anyway, the goats totally destroyed the house. It's really funny when she tells it.
I'm sure it has to be.
But I'm thinking, what if that kind of thing happens when you are taking care of someone's house? I'm sure there's some kind of insurance or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of being a part of an established company like Trusted House Sitters, right? So they do give you that that level of security. There's built-in insurance depending on what level of membership you decide to take advantage of. And then on the homeowner side as well, they have various options to cover. Now, that would never happen to your girl, because I'm not doing nothing that's got no goats, no horses, no nothing like that. That would never be my story.
I wish I could think of the name. Oh, it's called You Are a Badass. That's the name of the book. And that story just cracked me up.
Ain't no way. Just ain't no way. But I know a couple of sisters who all they want to do is farm animals. Like, they love being playing in the dirt and harvesting, and so that's kind of their jam. So my Sisters Who Sit Facebook group is a group that I started just this year.
Oh, it's called Sisters Who Sit.
Yes, Sisters Who Sit. And it is for Black women only, and all we talk about in the group is house sitting. The good, the bad, the in-between. And it's a safe space to ask questions, get real answers. And, I felt it was important because in a lot of the groups, they talk sometimes about house sitting. We talk about house sitting exclusively in my group. So that is the only topic of conversation, and it doesn't depend on level of experience or anything. If you're interested in house sitting, join the group, get some more information. If you are looking for a house sitter, join the group. Because it's all sisters. And 90% of us have been vetted through Trusted House Sitters. So even if you don't use us through that particular service, knowing that somebody might be available in your immediate area, you can find in the group.
I love it. And how many are in your group?
We're about 500 strong now.
Girl, what?
Yes.
About this group?
I don't know. I think I sent you an invite, but anyway.
Oh, I'm going back and looking for it for real. Because I'm always like, I need somebody to keep my dogs.
Yes.
Okay, I love it. Now, I would love for you to share the places that you have been through house sitting.
Sure. Well, domestically, like I said, I'm from the East Coast, so I've done sits in New York, in South Carolina, where my parents were, all up and down that East Coast. And then, your visit was my first foray onto the West Coast.
Okay,
so
California.
I had done California and Arizona. which I really enjoyed.
I remember that.
Yeah, I got to see Erykah Badu when I was out in Arizona and Phoenix, and it was just all the things, right? Had my mask on, but that didn't stop anybody from doing what they do at an Erykah Badu concert, if you know what I mean. Right. So it was wonderful. But I have been international with Mexico was my first long-term sit. I was in Mexico for 5.5 months on a house sit. So
you
do the math.
So you were not paying. You were not paying anything to live in Mexico
for 5.5 months.
So you were just paying for your like personal needs, food.
Yes.
What about transportation?
So you get yourself there, wherever your sit is. You get yourself there, and of course you have to feed yourself. But I have been very, very fortunate with my hosts. They reach out and ask in advance, what can we get in the refrigerator for you? People have left me gift cards to go shopping, so I didn't have to come out of pocket initially. And then with this particular sit, there were fresh fruits and vegetables for me to harvest. So listen, and you know I'm vegan adjacent.
Okay. All right.
So that was good. So Mexico 5.5 months. I have done Panama for 35 days.
Wow.
And that's Panama City. Well, you know, it's all strategy, girl.
Yeah.
It's strategic.
Now, you've had some sits where they leave you a car?
Oh, yeah. In Mexico for those 5 months, I had a car. So I named her Tamale because she and I were just hot mamas, just tearing up those Mexican streets. And I had no problem driving in Mexico. I have done sits in Panama. I've been to Portugal. I've been to the south of Spain. I'm here in Costa Rica.
Slow down because I'm trying to soak it in. Portugal.
Yes.
And you said
the south of Spain.
Okay, and now Costa Rica.
Yeah, Costa Rica. So this is the end of my house sitting year here in Costa Rica. From here, I'll take a little cruise, just kind of unwind a little bit before I join my daughter and granddaughter for the holiday season. And then hit it again in January. I'll be in Panama and Boquete. In January on a house sit.
Y'all, don't y'all love this life?
Listen, you know, everybody can't live out of a suitcase and a backpack like I do, but I know that if I can do it, Renee, because I was the woman with all the things. Like a house full of the things, everything, you know. And particularly, you know, you're married the majority of your life, and so you accumulate, right? When I decided to purge, girl, I purged. It had to go.
So
my daughter's like, wait a minute,
and the things. Okay. All right. Oh, because we want to be clear that there's not someone at home.
No.
Like, okay, I don't know when she coming back. No, you purged that and you purged this. And okay. All right. Sounds
so
good.
I am completely untethered, and I use that word a lot. My daughter said it to me first, and it just resonated. I'm like, I am untethered at this point in my life, and there's no box.
It makes me think of the word freedom, which that's what this is in Arabic.
Absolutely. Freedom.
Yes,
it is absolute personal freedom for the first time in my life, and I'm 61. So, you know,
looking good, girl.
Thank you. Feeling good is the main thing, right?
Yes,
feeling good. I feel amazing. This is an amazing time in my life right now.
Yes, it is. I want you to share a little bit about the social life in this type of lifestyle.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, I am grateful for the Facebook groups that exist. I utilize them as much as possible. I'm a very outgoing person, and I'm going to extend myself. So I go on Facebook and I let folks know, hey, I'm coming to Costa Rica for a month. Who's there? Who wants to get together? And that's how you and I found one another when I was coming to California. I'm like, who wants to grab coffee or whatever in the Bay Area? And so I have tremendous sisterhoods all over the world right now. I used to brag that I had, you know, friends in different area codes in the United States. I got friends in country codes, girl. I got country codes.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, so it's important, I think, that you reach out. First of all, for safety measures, right? Somebody in that country knows that you're arriving around this time, and hopefully they give a damn enough to reach out and say, hey, are you here yet? You know, when can we get together? First of all, that's a safety thing for me.
Okay.
And then, you know, you don't feel like you're navigating these streets all by yourself. Somebody is there who has been to the supermarket, who has been to the right ATM, who has been, you know, some of the places that you need to go and can kind of give you a soft landing is what I call it. So I've given myself soft landings in every country where I've gone.
I love all of that, all of it. I was thinking of something else. So what about like shopping?
Yeah.
How's that been?
Shopping is great. I mean, you know, I don't know. Have you been to the malls here in Costa Rica?
I heard these are some fabulous malls, and I'm here for business. I did not get a chance. I don't even want to know what I missed.
Listen, I'm not even
leaving.
going to tell you. I am really not a mall shopper, but I go to the mall in every country that I visit because you just have to. I have to know, right? They say, oh, it's a third world country. Well, go to the mall and determine that for yourself.
Yeah.
Like in Panama, the mall that was close to me, I was in the Punta Pacifica area, which is exquisite. And the mall had all the labels, like everything from Rolex all the way on down. So you ain't missing nothing in these countries.
Okay.
I've been to the mall, and so, but I like local shopping.
Yes.
I really do. I like going to the markets.
I did get to, because what I really wanted here was local jewelry.
Yeah.
And so I did get a chance to get that.
Yeah.
So I think I'll be okay.
Right.
What about food?
Well,
like the local food. Have you enjoyed the food?
I have. Well, let me tell you about my Airbnb. My Airbnb was, first of all, was chosen strategically because...
And this was the one in Mexico?
No, this is the one here.
Oh, okay.
Currently.
So you're starting a new sit here?
Yes.
Okay.
I start that sit on in a few days.
Okay.
But the Airbnb where I am now, just enjoying myself, is attached to the family restaurant.
See, I'm up here.
To the family restaurant, y'all. So
I'm a foodie.
it's like, it's my casita, right? And then you go through the courtyard and around the corner and you're at the restaurant. And so Thursday through Sunday I eat right there.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's good home cooked food and it costs like little to nothing.
And it's healthy. I mean, the food here is so fresh.
Yeah. And they've got a mango tree in their yard. So I haven't popped one off yet, but one's looking real tasty. Almost ready.
So now I'm thinking, as a black woman in all these different countries, how are you feeling as opposed to black woman in the U.S.?
Okay. Well, I will say that I feel very safe in these international streets. You know, you use the wisdom that you have, right? And you keep your head on swivel when you're in the city and stuff like that. But for the most part, I feel much safer in these streets than I do in the United States. And I compare it to driving, right, in the U.S. When I was driving in Mexico for 5 months, never once when I saw a police come behind me or on the other side of the street did I tense up at the wheel and wonder whether or not they were going to be looking my way or... So those microaggressions are gone, and you don't know how much they weigh until you have an opportunity to put them down. It's kind of hard to pick them back up. So I spend very limited time in the U.S. because it doesn't serve my peace anymore. It just doesn't serve my peace.
Wow.
So 90 days, that's all the United States can get from me at this point is 90 days. And that's simply because my daughter and granddaughter are still there. Now, should they decide that they want to get global, I have no reason to go back.
I know that's real.
It's a big old world.
So now what do you do as far as income? Like, are you like still working? Or?
No, well, my job and I parted ways. Right about the time that I got that 5-month sit in Mexico. You know, they were loosening the COVID restrictions, and as a corporate event planner, that meant that we were going back into the convention centers and into the conference centers and all those things. And you know, that was the time when I really had just started my healing from, you know, the loss of my parents. So it was not going to be a good thing for me to go back, and it wouldn't be good for the job either. So when they couldn't extend my 60-day paid vacation, sabbatical, healing journey, I chose myself.
I know that's real.
And I said, I can't come back. It's not going to be good for either of us. So we parted ways. And then I had to get creative, right? And I picked up a client as a virtual assistant, which I still have. And I do coaching for Black women who are interested in becoming 5-star house sitters.
Okay. And see, that's where, when you start getting creative, that's where your real money starts to kick in.
Yeah.
It may take a minute to build, but that's where it can come from, because then it's not as limited as a paycheck.
Right. So, when you have a passion, and I feel like house sitting and this lifestyle is a passion of mine at this point, it's easy to kind of talk about it very transparently, and that's what I do on social media. And so people started asking me questions, and I'm like, okay, at this point, this sounds like this is something that I can monetize, because it's something of interest to other people.
Right. That you have an expertise in.
Right. Yeah. And so while there are other people who are out there and they offer a lot of different services with regards to house sitting, I really take a one-on-one approach, very personal, with my clients once they sign up on the site, to make sure that their profile looks as attractive as it should. There are certain keywords that you want to make sure are in there, right? And that's the hardest part, is talking about yourself. And you have to do that when you're building that profile. So I will go in and I will tweak it with them so it looks 5-star-ish. And then we sit down and we do an initial sit strategy at that point. Like, where do you want to go and how do you want to use house sitting? Because, sometimes people don't know. It's double dutch. You got to jump in, but, it's got to be your turn. So it's about the rhythm of it and developing a strategy. So you asked me earlier, where had I been? Going forward, my calendar is booked through June of next year with house sitting, and a combination of paid, unpaid, and some personal time built in. And thankfully this coming year I have more personal time built in, because I've saved so much money by not paying for accommodations this year.
I know that's real.
Stretch those dollars.
Yes. So you mentioned a daughter and a grandbaby.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's some other family members, friends that probably had something to say when you started all of this. So
Girl,
how did that go?
You think?
How did all that go?
It's so funny because I have one daughter and one granddaughter, and we had done domestic sits together as a family.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's another thing.
Don't skip over that.
You can
take
sit
your family
with your family. Yes, there are family-friendly sits.
Okay.
So we only do the most gorgeous sits. It's got to have the hot tub and the pool and the body of water.
I'm thinking if, like, when you leave your pets, you really would love for, like, when I leave my dogs, I leave them with a woman. Like, you kind of want it to remind them of you. Yes. So I'm guessing if you're a family with a couple of kids and you're gone for a few weeks, you probably want a family with a couple of kids coming in, even though your animals know it's not you, but it still feels.
And it's that same level of attention that the animals are used to, right? So I'm very strategic when I choose my sits, particularly with my granddaughter, because she loves animals. So it has to be an animal that's used to a child, because otherwise it'll be overwhelmed and get frustrated with the level of attention that Layla wants to give them. It really is a plus on both sides. If you can kind of mirror the family situation.
Okay. Yeah, I have seen where they ask for a couple.
Yes.
I've seen that.
Yes.
So then back to your family. How'd that go down when you first said, listen, I'm going to Mexico for 5 months or whatever? How did that all?
Well, okay. Yeah, it was something else. Now, when I told my family that I was taking a 60-day break, everybody understood. Like, they knew the circumstances, they knew why I needed this time. It was, it was going to be therapeutic for me. So everybody was on board. Took myself to Ecuador for 60 days and just started the healing process, right? And after 60 days, I was coming back to the States, start doing my life all over again, because I was Superwoman and I could heal myself in 60 days, right? Not. So, day 50 started rolling around, and my boss is now, she's texting me, and she's like, we're so excited that you're coming back. This is what we're doing. And I'm having anxiety attacks because I'm like not ready to go back.
Right.
So then we had the difficult conversation, like, I can't come back. And she was like, well, I can't hold your job. And so now I'm like, what do I do? So again, my family was expecting me to come back in 60 days as I was. 60 days rolled into almost 8 months. And my daughter was like, wait a minute.
Whoa.
You ran away from home? What do you mean? You told me 2 months. Now you're telling me you're going to be in Mexico for 5 months? What's really going on?
Well, now I'm upset.
Yeah. So,
oh my goodness.
she tells me all the time, she said, Ma, you just packed up and you ran away from home. And I think I probably did because I needed to.
You needed to. Yeah,
I really needed to. I would not be this version of Diamond at this point in my life with the level of peace
if you weren't finally living for yourself.
if I didn't do it. I had to do it. And so, it was a strain between my daughter and I because she kind of felt abandoned. We have been together through the pandemic, through the passing of my parents, and, just there to support one another really physically on an everyday basis. And so we had to really work through that.
Yeah.
But, once we did, she is my biggest fan, my biggest supporter.
Yeah.
Layla comes to me for the summer. We did summer vacation together on house sits. Mm-hmm. And so, it just... It's come full circle.
Yeah, you have to get through that point. It's similar here. When I was doing all those trips, I was doing like mini getaways.
Right.
You did one big one.
Yeah.
I was just like, let me just get away.
Right.
And, every time I came back, I was like ready to go again. And then when I finally left for good, or, made the announcement, then it's like, oh... And even with all the little trips,
sure,
my daughter was feeling like you left me here.
Right. But so we work through it. And like I said, she's my biggest supporter now. And at this point, she has embraced some house sitting as well. It's like a way to it's a mini vacation, like get away to someplace that's not home. Limited responsibilities and just enjoy a long weekend or a week away.
Okay. And I'm gonna ask one more question, and you can answer it or not. Okay. But I know that the ladies here, one of my most popular episodes was about dating.
Okay.
So anything you want to share? Because I know when we travel, these men are just ridiculously gorgeous all over the world. It's like every country,
everywhere.
It's like we're like, dang, I didn't know the man was that fine here. Everywhere we go, it's like, why haven't we known about how gorgeous these men are? So I know they looking good.
They smell good too.
Yes.
Oh my God, don't they smell good?
Yes, I did a whole YouTube video about that. But so I've never gone beyond looking and smelling. So I don't get into real conversations or relationships. Yeah. But I would love to know if you had any special encounters or an opinion about them, or whatever you want to share.
Okay, well, fair question, and a lot of women want to know what's dating like, right? So I'm very organic. If I can't meet you organically, I don't want to meet you. Okay. So the dating apps and all of that stuff that my friends were like, you should get on this, that, not and I'm like, that's not my thing. Okay. But I will say that the language barrier is not a barrier when it comes to dating in these international streets. Really? No, your eyes and your smile are universal. So smile with your whole being, and captivate with your eyes, and the rest is history. I've dated in every country that I've been in.
Wait a minute, what y'all using, Google Translate?
Listen, sometimes, or sometimes you just sit there and you're like, a little bit of Spanish. What? A little bit of English, and you fill in the blanks. Okay. And yes, you use Google Translate some. Okay. But yes, so I've dated in every country.
What? And so how would you compare dating in some of these countries to dating in the U.S.?
Girl, I didn't date in the U.S. That was the whole thing. I was damn married my whole life. Okay. So
I thought you were saying I just never met anybody.
No. Okay. It's funny because in Ecuador, I met an American who was there in Ecuador, and so we started dating. In Panama, I was there for 35 days. That was 4 weeks. I had 4 dates.
Dang.
I did. In
okay,
Panama.
Ladies, Panama. Okay. What part of Panama?
I was in Panama City.
Ladies. Okay. And these were men from Panama.
Yeah, Panamanians.
Okay.
So, they speak enough English that you can get by, and I speak enough Spanish. And so, you enjoy a meal or a glass of wine, whatever the case may be. I've dated in Ecuador when I was in Quito, Portugal. Yeah.
Okay. So one thing I see a lot on social media, and honestly, I don't know the age range of the people who are having these conversations, because we are 50 plus, but I don't know who's making these comments about, who's paying for the meal, and I'm only going to pay for coffee, or we're going to go 50-50. Are you experiencing any of this on your dates in other countries?
I am not. And it surprises me when I see it on Facebook, because I feel like, if you are walking in your queen position, nobody's going to ask you to go 50-50.
Right.
If someone asks me on a date, then the expectation is you treat the queen the way the queen is supposed to be treated, or date someone else.
Thank you for putting that out there, because I'm telling you, I see it so much. And as a woman who's just coming out of a 20-year marriage, I have no idea what's going on out there.
Right.
I see that. Like I said, I don't know the age range of the women who are, and the men who are writing these things, but it's totally foreign to me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to hear you say that that's not really the way it's going down.
That hasn't been my experience. And I'm in the 60s club, right? I turned 61 in Mexico this summer.
Oh yes, we get back to that.
Yeah. And so I have dated a full gamut of men from mid 40s to 70. And no, I've never been asked to pay for anything. Now, if I want to offer something, that's a different story. But the expectation is, you see what you're working with.
Right. Thank you.
Govern yourself accordingly.
Thank you. We needed to hear that. I appreciate that. Okay, now I know you had a big birthday celebration. I was so wanting to be there. Was that in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And that was the 60th, right?
No. Well,
that was 61?
I did. Okay, so 60, I had a huge party.
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yes.
But she had a huge party and a
did.
big party. Let's hear about the huge party. And I know we got to wrap it up. I know you got a client you're meeting with. But go ahead. Tell us about this huge party.
60 was all the things. I had a glam squad, hair, makeup, my girls there. Shout out to my Lakeside sisters. They helped me find the perfect dress. It was, on the water. We had a boat at our disposal to go out as often as we wanted. And it was just, we had the restaurant to ourselves. And I think it was about 12 of us who got together.
Oh,
and mind you, these were 12 perfect strangers.
Oh, these were ladies who lived in Mexico.
Yes,
who were
this is my sister tribe.
And these are all black women from the U.S.
No, I can't even
over.
say all black, because two of them were white.
Okay.
But
and
just
from
a
where?
sisterhood. From the U.S. for the most part, expats.
Okay.
And we became very, very close. And so, they came out and helped me celebrate 60. And then 61 this past summer.
That's the big party.
I was in Puerto Vallarta.
Oh.
And it was all the things. So, yes, I've decided to celebrate. I celebrate myself every day, but August roll around, it's diamond time.
Yes.
That's my month. I claim it.
I love it.
It's all good.
Well, this has been wonderful. I know we got to wrap it up because you have a client. Otherwise, we would keep chatting.
We have so much to talk about. But it's so good sitting with you.
Good to see you again, sis.
My God.
Yes.
We've been trying to get face to face for a long time.
Yeah,
and we had to come to Costa Rica to do it.
We do a lot of FaceTimes. But this last month, I think I said, I'm going to be in Costa Rica. I'm going to be in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And, oh, my God. I'm glad we talked, because we don't talk every month.
Right.
But I'm glad we talked, because I'm only here for like 3 or 4 days.
Right.
If we hadn't talked, this wouldn't have happened.
Would not have happened. Thank
God. This was meant to be.
Yes.
So tell everyone how they can find you.
Absolutely. Okay, I am on Instagram as the Gallivanting Grandma.
And gallivanting is
GALLIVANTING Grandma all together.
Okay.
Same on YouTube. And on Facebook, I am Diamond Brand New Crystal, because I'm brand new.
Okay. Diamond Brand New Crystal. I love it. All right. This has been wonderful.
Thank you
and
so much, sis.
Yes,
I
thank
so
you.
appreciate this.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining us. I see you next time on Unapologetically Fly.
Yes, indeed.